Hello, viewers. I'm SB,
And I'm Amabel. I'm here too.
and welcome back to Amabel Goes to Forex School. I checked with you. I was like, I'm ready. Are we going? And you were like, yeah, I'm ready. And then you immediately took a big drink of your soda. I was so worried. I was like, is she gonna choke? Is she just gonna not come through on the intro? Anyway.
And I did fine.
Listen,
I'm
you
a
did fine.
professional.
The lesson here is that you're on top of it. The lesson here is that you're a professional. But I was worried.
I'm usually the one on top, yeah.
Anyway, here we are. We're besieging an enemy who kind of can't help but just sort of like fall over again and again. I feel bad. I feel bad picking on this poor robot that we set at a very low difficulty level, but they are kind of like right in the middle of our end game conquest of the world objectives. So, and I need to not have to have an army back here.
Yeah.
They're just aggressive enough to be a problem for both of us.
Right, because they'll just keep coming back if you don't.
Yeah, and they won't leave me
care of it.
alone. If they would leave us alone, that would also be fine. But since they won't do that, we must kill them. So we're going to want to open up the siege fairly soon. And I do think that we want to, prep some units here. What do I have standing on the space right now? A sentry and a charger. So let's go for another sentry. These are relatively cheap to build. Our city's industry capacity has really sharpened up some. And look at this. This city is jubilant. Life is great in fucking Reefborn. It's the other cities that are being constantly tortured by huge monsters that have problems. Look at this fucking thing.
You should probably take care of that sometime, sweetheart. Why isn't it on your list?
I would love to. It is on my list. It's on my list right after the necrophages. Amabel, we are beset by monsters, and I have to pick one side and to deal with them. I don't know if you've heard about, if you've ever heard any of the famous sayings about the wisdom of multi-front land wars. But broadly, it is considered unwise to you pick a side and win it, and then...
Yeah.
We've entered a new era! Hooray!
And I appreciate you keep picking a side. You're not doing the win it part, though, so we need to
Amabel Holland.
step that up.
The years of invention are unlocked, offering new technologies to research and to new era effects. So, city cap up, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're going to get another hero. Expert instruction. Our soldiers are more expensive, but they're training at a higher level now. And Empyrean Order has unlocked the Sky Scale unit expansion, or unit specialization. Although this looks like a specialization of a unit that I don't have yet, maybe? It might be a unit that's in this era's technologies or something.
Okay.
My man would like a white piece. He recognizes that we are going to take his city. The war is going terribly for him. We're going to refuse him. Because fuck him is why. I don't need to have more reason than that. We all know that that's the score around here. Look at our incomes. Amabel, we're getting so strong. It took a little while to get there, but we're getting so strong.
Yeah.
All right, so next turn we're going to have another set of breaches. Next turn we have the first breach. That's right, because we had to re-siege the city. So we get our first breach next turn, another 2 breaches the turn after that, and then it's a while before the next set of breaches, and we might want to just push after the first 3.
I mean, I think one thing we've noticed is that if you just go in and attack them before you're done getting the breaches, before you're ready, they won't expect it. And then one of the 2 sides will win, as happened last episode.
Yes, certainly one of the 2 sides will win. Spoilers, it's the one with the behemoths. Okay, so no, this was a whole new unit. So equipped with superfied reflexes, Sky Scales combine sheer size with remarkable agility and grace. So like compared to our basic melee infantry guy, this thing has over twice as much health, a base damage value of 60 to 75, which again is approximately twice. 15 armor, so halfway between our normal infantry and their behemoths, and of course the flying movement type, which is very powerful.
Helpful.
That
Yeah.
said, they cost 1 million.
Wait, 1 million?
Approximately 1 million gears. Our
That's
infantryman is
720.
our infantryman is
That's a-
288. This
Okay.
this thing is like 3 of those guys.
Okay, sure. But that's different. That's different than 1 million.
It's not, in the sense that they're both numbers that are too high to be worth considering. Amabel, when I say something is 1 million, I would think you would understand this by this point in our relationship. When I say something is 1 million, I mean, it's big or whatever.
So will you tell me that you love me 1 million? Is that
That
wait?
means like I love you big or whatever.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you love me big or whatever.
It's like
I
a
love you
bunch.
big or whatever too.
How much? It's
What have we
so
got
much.
going on over these heroes?
It's so much that I don't even think is worth measuring. It's just a lot. It's the canonical definition of a lot. So we have access to some. These are. I think these are the same kind of like weird structure. I mean, obviously you can see the coral growths. So these are our kind of thing, but they got a weird shape to them. So see, Ictharius, the Seeker, who loves to seek, a defender. Metoxis of Agora, another ranged unit. Scryobath, the Abyssal. Shadows welcome him, and he's into that. He loves shadows. And then, of course, Nosandro, the Solitary, the great big two-handed weapon warrior. I'm inclined to take another ranger.
Okay.
Ranged units are good. Welcome aboard. So, Metoxis, if you could please... we're going to put him in control of that army, obviously. Okay, trade win bonuses if he's a counselor. Yep, it just folded him right into the army, exactly where I would have him. And... when in battle, adds 5 damage to non-hero ranged units. 1 extra damage per intuition, which he doesn't have any of. But still, 5 damage to all of the ranged units in the army. I'll take it. And also, raw max health. More experience. Fast learner is like... it's not very exciting, And you never really have a good sense of... we do not yet have a good sense of how many battles, how much XP, how many levels a hero is actually going to earn. It may well be the case that Fast Learner does not generally pay off a skill point on average over the course of a game. Right? I'm sure it's balanced. Yeah. I'm sure the intent is that it's balanced, so it does, but we don't really have a good sense yet. The other thing I could do is I could just take a point of intuition to improve our guiding light, but that doesn't feel very good. Well, you know what? You are a little bit less terrifying as an offensive concern, so maybe spending a turn healing people makes a little bit more sense for you. We have that sort of like mid-rangey bow that we picked up. +1 movement points on heroes? Sure, why not? And then also poison salts. The ability to whip some poison at people. We have a lot of bows. We have a lot of like crappy bows. Alright, so hopefully we'll be in position to rush this occultist between the amount that gets built and the amount of income. As the fortifications are breaking, and then we'll push them with the 2 armies, and this time we'll seal it. This time we'll be done with it. Welcome to the Years of Invention. I think
you're pretty close on one of those battles.
Okay, so over here we have the Coral Sensorium, which unlocks additional unit specializations. I do wish that there were fewer fewer like situations where a thing unlocks a specialization that unlocks a skill that creates a buff that means a thing like it's cool that you can effortlessly go 4 levels of tooltips deep, but maybe I don't. I mean, what if I didn't have to?
Yeah.
You know, Guard of the Current. This is interesting. So you have Fearless Charge instead of the buff. Just a bunch of damage. As long as you move 3 tiles, I don't think it's super compelling. Bright Skill gives you Run Through. Deals 100% of the unit's damage to units in the 1 tile in line behind the targeted tile. Okay. So it gives it a splash attack, like it splashes through and hits the next thing. That's pretty powerful. Or Shadow Scale, which makes you a War Master. Completely ignores defense of targeted units. And that's certainly a powerful thing for a flying unit to have. Oh, notice that the Shadow Scales themselves have 25 armor. So this is very much just like a fly it over your enemy and deposit it inside their lines kind of trick. That's pretty cool. Unlocks Converter Propaganda Machine. Okay, lets your city's manufacture approval instead of industry. I mean, that's a way that things go sometimes. Although usually the word we use is consent rather than approval. I mean, we do need more science. We do need lots more science. Unlocks Tier 1 unit specializations for all the minor faction units. That is a thing I had not thought of as well, actually. Oh, right, but Collective Sacrifice. Collective Sacrifice lets us start dealing with the Doom Wraiths. Remember how important that is?
Right. Yeah, because they're fucking up your cities, baby.
Yeah, it does also give quite a lot of damage to non-hero units, it seems like, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. My stuff is being sacked by like hostile minor faction units all over the place, and we have no active defenses because everything is devoted to keeping the damn necrophages at bay, and I am trying so hard to end that.
You're gonna do it this next turn, I bet.
Alright, so the second tier of breaches occurred, and the same turn we were able to buy our 10th military unit. So yeah, I think it is time, but also a quest triggered at the same time. You look troubled, Krytalon the practitioner. What's wrong? Our water reserves. They've blackened, as if a dark poison has infected the wells. No doubt the influence of that nearby wretch. What should we do? Well, somebody should deal with that thing, I suppose. We can study it, get ourselves some science, but cause a little bit of a crop shortage. You probably should not eat crops grown with the black water.
Yeah.
We can live with a useful side effect. It helps improve the the security of the city. Nobody wants to approach through the water. But catastrophic collapse in the trust of the Empire, or catastrophic collapse of trust in the Empire, obviously is a loss. We can just instruct the population to boil supplies, which it feels like we should be doing anyway. This gives us immediately 2 population. That does feel
also
quite
reduces
significant.
the.
Listen, we got plenty of influence income. Losing 10 per turn for 10 turns is not going to hurt us that much. It's long past time we boiled our water supplies anyway. Enforce this across all aspects. We'll lose some industrial capacity on account of the energy cost, but our numbers will be healthier for it. I can't imagine it's a very significant energy cost. Alright, can we please make this happen? It's time. We have our full thing here. We got look at all those violent armies. And if we do an instant resolution, It predicts we will just lose.
Okay.
So here's the problem. 1,529 strength of units in battle. This time, they are applying more of their own military units. It's tough because we can never. I believe we can never bring more than 2 armies, right? If we have multiple reinforcement armies available, it makes us pick one. So we're not really going to be able to provide more than this amount of force ever.
Yeah. You can probably do this in a manual battle, though.
This is very much like the manual battle that we lost terribly in the last episode. I mean, like, very much like.
Was it this? Were the numbers like this? Because I thought your numbers were a little lower.
Their
Not a
numbers
little
were
higher.
considerably low, right? They didn't have 1,500 total strength.
Well,
Again, I mean, like, again, it comes down to how are you going to beat the behemoths? One of the behemoths is apparently not healed from last time. So that certainly helps. If we only have one, it's also worth noting we only have one observer this time. Because I was building one somewhere else, but he's not here. So we will only have one ability to force crits.
yeah.
And that does suck a bunch.
Well,
City is fortified.
ISIS
How much bonus defense is the thing? Okay, it doesn't actually. That's just the concept of defense.
I sincerely believe in your ability to do this.
I sincerely do not.
Okay. Well,
But
then
I'm
you make the
debating
choice.
about, like, do we retreat and wait for another observer? Because we were building another observer in the city over here. It's probably not too many turns away. And that second observer makes a big difference as far as ability to kill the behemoth.
Well, you make the decision that works for you, because last time I encouraged you, you got mad at me.
Last time you pretended to encourage me. Let's be clear.
No, I legitimately encouraged you.
You were like, aha,
let's not get it twisted.
this'll get her. This'll show her who's the boss. It's me.
I already know that. I don't need to prove it. I don't need to show it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. We're doing it. We're doing it. I'm just gonna do it. What if I just fucking killed him? Amabel, Holland.
I can't believe you did it.
Shut up. So the poison salts apply a 30% defense debuff. So, like, if we have our new archer throw the poison, like, over here, we can hopefully get this one. My hope is that we can get the one behemoth low enough that we can kill it with focused fire, even though its armor isn't totally ruined, while keeping our observer back a little bit.
Okay.
And then use the observer to push through the health of the one that is actually healthy.
Yeah, because it seems like the plan is get rid of those behemoths first if you can.
Well,
I mean, you gotta do a little bit of everything, but like,
yeah,
they're a priority.
unfortunately we do. Unfortunately, we do have to do a little bit of everything. All right, can you get this poison shot to here? It's not bad.
Okay.
All right, so there's my poison potion. It is thrown. It is burned. And let's see what we can get accomplished on this nerd.
That's not terrible.
So is that... He has 85 HP. So I think it's showing the damage without the critical hit. So there's a 75% chance that I will deal lethal. It would be lethal if we landed the crit. We didn't, of course. 75%, it turns out. Not 100%. I don't know if you knew that. Those two numbers are different.
Yeah, I do know that.
But it does look like we are going to be able to focus fire, burn him down without having to use the observer on him. Now I might have the observer back the fuck up for a minute, like maybe like all the way back, because he's got to survive to the point where we can have him ride on the other behemoth at least a little bit.
Right.
But the poison, I think the poison was really, really good. The poison was hugely helpful. Now we got to figure out how are we going to position. Yeah, we can turn the camera a little bit. So there is a cliff between these two tiles, but we basically have like, this is the bottleneck right here, right? These 3 tiles wide.
Okay.
And this tile is low ground compared to the tile that it's going to be attacked from, which does suck a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's have Gracchus the Adored right up here and do a bunch of damage to this flyer. You guys press in and finish that thing off. And then we have 2 more melee units that we can use to sort of just plug the gap.
Smart. Punching through the shield that they got to start with. Keeps the observer safe. Now obviously they have the ability to, back around here, and their flying units can fly. Did you move the observer yet?
No.
Okay.
I haven't had to.
Don't forget.
We're parking stuff in front of it, so it kind of gets
right.
Gets to stay up close, because we do need it to maintain a position where it can attack, right?
Okay.
That said, I am wondering if maybe I should back it up to here, because they do still have a flying unit alive. The flying unit by itself getting through and attacking the observer is not a big deal. The behemoth has 3 moves, so it can go 1, 2, 3. So actually, if I back off the observer to here, the observer is vulnerable to the behemoth specifically, which I don't love. But I do wonder if I put the observer to this side, maybe the behemoth does run out to the left and we can just try to focus it down real hard in the open.
Okay.
And then they have 2 ranged units and a flyer left, so our ranged core is going to take some damage from that. But yeah, I'll move out here. We should be far enough away from the enemy that they're not actually going to catch us. My guess is the behemoth is just going to move forward and attack here. Yeah, or the other position at the bottleneck. That's actually a shame. This position at the bottleneck is for sure more annoying to get the observer over to. So we lost a melee unit there in a way that I don't love. You have your rain of arrows. Should be pretty solid. Love to drop it here. But it doesn't quite kill anything. It does a lot of damage. It doesn't quite kill anything. So in order to drop it there, I'd have to shuffle some things around a bit here. We can, of course, have the observer just push this way. Like we got all these like little crappy units that we have to deal with, and I had to try to do that while not letting the behemoth get in charge, basically, positioning wise. So the range of Rain of Arrows is only 4, despite the fact that the hero's normal range is 5, which does make things a little bit more complicated because I really want to drop it here. If I move all the way up to here, that does get me the forward position I want. It puts Polemophon, unfortunately, far enough forward that it is now a melee unit, and that's a little scary, obviously. The line attack doesn't really make sense here. No, this is a really good Rain of Arrows. I think I am just going to accept the way forward here. Get our rain. So in this position, we hit a lot of enemies. We also hit one of our own. And I'm debating whether I think, because like moving the archer is going to cause an attack of opportunity. Maybe it's worth it to just take the shot. Obviously, I'm worried about the archer dying.
Yeah.
I think I just do it. Sorry, friendly. Alright, and then you guys can start, hopefully, lifting some enemies up here. It does look like basically everybody's going to do just enough damage to leave whatever's next to them alive. Everything here is going to take 1.05 attacks to kill, which is intensely annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's frustrating.
Like, that's a great example. But I think it just is that way. So we'll shoot you. You can just throw a punch here, I guess. There's no sense in hitting the behemoth. That gets us a little bit of blood mending. And then kill. And kill. And kill. This lets the behemoth get up here, but that's actually not that devastating. And then we still have our cavalry hero, who is kind of pinned to the position, I think, because while I could move around and like charge the behemoth for a fair amount of damage, to do so would be to allow the behemoth then on its turn to go 1, 2, and then just like maul all the archers. So I think I need to stay right here, as much as that is a little bit of a bummer. And Death Blow is less good than my normal attack. This is probably not lethal. Okay, we got lucky. Okay, that's a really soft attack from the behemoth. That's actually like phenomenally lucky.
Yeah, how are you feeling this is going, sweetheart?
It's going better than I was expecting, in part because I'm trying to be very careful with my positioning, but also in part because that was a horrible move on their part, I think.
Yeah.
I think they just...
Oh, was I right to believe in you?
No! No, to be clear, they fucked up. I'm not playing well. They're fucking up.
Could it be that both things are true? Are you also playing well with your very careful maneuvering?
All right, okay, calm down.
A sequencing of actions?
I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
All right, so that's a big crit. That puts that thing in harm's way for sure. We do still have to remove some of these other enemies, and nobody else is going to be able to hit that thing for meaningful damage except for Gracchus.
Okay.
The question is, do we have Gracchus hit it? Or do I have Gracchus ride off and do something else? Because that way we don't have too many things standing adjacent to it.
Mm-hmm.
As it stands right now, it's not going to get to hit 3 people with its 3-person sweep attack. And it probably wants to, right?
Yeah. It loves that shit.
It loves that shit. It's also worth noting that the capture point is free. So maybe I just run an archer onto the capture point. And then shoot their archers with him. Just really make sure those archers know who's boss. And then yeah, Gracchus runs down here and breaks this dude off. And then this guy, I guess, shoots at the behemoth for lack of anything better to do. I could draw up. I'd have to get 2 points closer. So actually, I'm not sure I can hit the necrophage back here in any case. So yeah, I think I just shoot the behemoth because they don't have a better target. Okay, the behemoth goes for the soft targets. And guess what? You left your capture point open, nerd. I would like to occupy this city. Don't want to burn this fucking city to the ground. Kind of. We're gonna try occupying.
Yeah, because the thing that we've learned is that the more cities you have, the happier they are.
Yeah. Gracchus is leveled up enough to settle down with his sweetie pie. Boy, it's taken a long time to build that observer in the other place. Let's try to replace some of the lost sentries. Because after we take out the necrophages, if we do manage to hold this and they don't drive us off with their other armies. And it's worth noting that the army that's actually in the siege action really didn't sustain very much damage. It was the reinforcement army that lost units mostly. So that's good news for us. Even if we do manage to do this and break the necrophages, we still are going to need a lot of troops. You guys just hang out here and heal. Gracchus's thing, he has to go somewhere and set it up, right? It's not just like I can drop it anywhere. So yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But this bodes well. The coral continues to spread. And the necrophage player, maybe not the highest wisdom here, not really seeming interested in disrupting my taking of his capital. I mean, that army, I don't think that army beats ours. So maybe I don't know exactly what he should do here, but he's got to have more forces than that. We have encountered General Natalia Shaparenko of the kin of Sheridan. We greet all but bow to none. Acknowledge. Do we see your land? Do we see your units? No, it's not clear to me why we have just met. Okay, I mean, that's cool. So I really do want to get this one rushed out as soon as we have the dust. Because observers are great. Every army should have at least one.
Do you know that the first aerial unit used by a military was an observer unit?
Like using the normal English meaning of the word observer?
It was a reconnaissance unit. It was observe. Do you know what it was?
I mean, because it literally would have to be, right? That would be the only thing that early aircraft are good for
Yeah.
Do I know what it was? I don't.
It was a hot air balloon in the Civil War.
That's kind of what I was figuring. That it would have
Isn't
been.
that neat?
It would have
Isn't
been
history neat? There's
something
some neat things.
buoyancy based. You know what? If you want to believe that that's neat, I'm not going to stop you.
It kind of sucked ass. It was not a very good balloon.
No, I can't imagine.
I think it's a better balloon than the early submarine was a it was a better balloon than the Civil War submarine with the submarine.
Sure, I believe that. I've seen diving bells. All right, one more turn until I've occupied your stuff. If you're gonna bring a bunch of scary spiders up here or whatever, this would be the time.
10 behemoths.
Yeah. Yeah, the good news is it doesn't seem like he has the ability to build them. They're in his city garrisons, but we haven't seen one in any of his active armies.
Yeah, I think you did. Even if they had done a better job, good job. Even if they'd done a better job playing that battle, I still think you were very skillful in the way that you approached it.
Well, thank you, sweetie.
Skillful, even. I don't get a thing. She is shaking her head with a frown.
Yeah.
The thing about it. Here's the thing about your frown, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Much like your smiles, they still produce dimples and are still adorable. So I'm rewarded either way.
My incentive structures are fucked, y'all. Okay, so we've got basically 2 functional armies. I'm going to get one more unit going here. Let's just get another occultist. Somebody to block for the archers. But our primary foe has been defeated. We are free of their tyranny, and that means that we can now use our armies to do other things. Like fight Doomwraiths, or the many, many minor faction units that are just running around and burning all my stuff to the ground all the time. We have a problem, player Gyra the Innumerable. One of Adgok's shining lights attacked several people in broad daylight, completely unprovoked. And this needs my attention. Why? Because not only were they immodel aspects, they claim no recollection of the act. Many whisper this is the nearby wretch's doing. Yeah, it's real bad to have Doomwraiths just all up in your shit. I'm getting that. The Doomwraith. I see. Well, we can say that they cannot be held responsible. People will not approve of that. Adgok, everybody in Adgok's going to be afraid of their neighbors. And then this, unfortunately, doesn't, because of the text overflow here, we can't see the duration on this cost reduction. Because it's going to be 12 turns before we have access to Bait Doomwraith. My guess is this is probably only 10 turns. So I guess for the sake of the city, they must be incarcerated. I mean, this is just a worse option, isn't it?
Yeah.
We get the same approval shortage, but reduction in dust is, like, there's no benefit. Even if the second thing is not even here, this is just better. Weirdly balanced event, I would say. The locals of Adgok won't like it, but this individual is innocent. With their connection to the wretch, we should be able to leverage that to some advantage. Maybe they can help us drive it away. Yes. Maybe. So, that has been our main goal for a long enough time that I've kind of forgotten about everything else we were doing.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to get a fourth district with a laboratory.
Let's go see about let's go see about one of these Doomwraiths with the military. Like, obviously, there are all these options for dealing with it.
Oh, and we need to clear a fortress too. Is a thing we need to do.
Amabel?
I remember that.
Let's go see about the fucking.
Okay.
Let's just focus for a second here.
That's not really my strong point.
No. No, I suppose not. I want to try opposing one of these things militarily.
All right.
And then here's our new city. What does the population count look like? We got necrophages. So necrophage citizen units are actually really good, it looks like. Let's refocus them on producing food and industry for the moment. The city's content, which I'm quite surprised by.
Yeah. Turns out they hated like no we hate this fucking shit.
Their leaders specifically, they were like, this guy is so dumb. So okay, we have this occupation status modifier for 9 turns that is cutting in half stuff. It's weird that it says food from battle, industry from battle. Maybe the from battle is supposed to be the source of the debuff.
Okay.
It's an oddly written tooltip. But yeah, it is roughly cutting in half all our yields. So
you have
that's
necro.
a shame. It's a shame, but we'll get there.
You have
So I think let's start up with some. Hold on a second.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Let's start up with some basic, like, we'll just build food and industry. We'll get the population up. Yeah, that should be good for that one. The other cities are producing so slowly because of all the corruption and the disapproval and everything that we almost don't even have to worry about what they're building because it's never going to come to fruition without some assistance.
You have necrophage population points, but you don't have access to like necrophage units.
No.
I think that's really interesting that in these games, when you can conquer the other side, one of the other players and drive them out of the game, that essentially they're just gone, or maybe their population is there in the city or whatnot. Because, historically and also, science fictionally, fantastically, you conquer a place, you conquer a people, and their military stuff still exists, can be co-opted. And it's interesting that, as far as I've seen throughout this whole series of Forex games, no one's ever really played with that idea.
I will say it is much more of an RTS kind of idea.
Huh.
There are many RTS games where you can, in some way or another, capture an enemy builder unit or directly capture an enemy factory structure, and then from it produce enemy structures and or units, or But yeah, you don't see it a lot in strategy games, slower strategy games. Here's that Sheridan Scout. This is why we met them. I think because of the amount of trouble that goes into sort of like balancing the armies to be unique and have interesting and unique gaps in their functionality.
It's one of the interesting things, though, for portrayal of like empire building, of empire, because if you look at any like successful empire, a lot of it is integrating, borrowing from, accumulating knowledge and techniques and so on from the people that are conquered. And I don't know. I think it's an interesting gap in the kind of rhetorical structure that the Forex games have vis-a-vis the kind of colonial empirical kind of. I don't know. I think it's interesting. And I wanted you to have behemoths.
You are level 5. So 5 damage to non-hero units in the army. It's like an okay skill, I think. A lot of this other stuff is not super exciting. Yeah, just like 5 damage on every other unit nearby is cool. Physical training is 5 damage plus 1 damage per skill point, which is okay. When conducting pillage, occupation, or raising, more dust and even more dust per intuition. You know, I'm just going to take everybody in the army gets 5 damage.
Okay.
That'll change the critical number of strikes in some conflicts at least. So, okay, this thing down here. It's rated at 1167. Its army, which is the foul Doomwraith itself, a juggernaut scuttling close to the ground that can carry a pestilence that can sicken soldiers even after it's gone. And it's four buddies, the horrors. They're cruel. What does cruel mean? Okay. Maximizes critical chance when attacking damaged units. So yeah, they hunt you down. They come after you.
I guess that's cruel.
Yep, it's nonstop. Nonstop out here with the picking at us. It's always got to be picking at us. We have a coral road. It runs down here, so we're able to cover some distance pretty quickly. But yeah, it does seem to me like we're probably going to need both armies in order to get the job done. Then we can hopefully get up here and decontaminate. And once we have the tech, it won't be necessary for us to run armies around so much anymore.
Yeah.
And once our armies are down here, we maybe even just stay down here and start dealing with the fortresses, because there are several of them, and rely on a sacrifice to bait the other Doomwraith away. Yeah. So let's move you guys up to here. So we have a ranged weapon hero that I want to swap in. The question is, who swaps out? Do we want to have 3 ranged units if one of them is a hero? These sentries are non-upgraded, so they don't have the bonus range. It might be that the right thing to do is to leave the extra sentry by itself. Leave one of the sentries extra. I'm going to have it be a melee unit, though. Okay, so now, in theory, we have a pretty good attempt on this thing's life. Obviously, we're going to bring this army to bear instead of the other one. Instant resolution clears it without us losing any real units. The hero gets injured again, which is not ideal, but
yeah,
I think we got to take the nobody's actually dead.
You don't want to see the Doomwraith in action.
And we kept its umbilical cord.
Wait, why?
An accessory.
Is it a baby?
An accessory.
Is it a Doom baby?
Amabel?
What?
An accessory that gives +2 resilience and also +4 might if the hero has 6 resilience. That's interesting. That's quite powerful.
No, but
every time I started to read it, you started up again. It was just like, is it a baby? Pause, and then I start to read the description. Is it a Doom baby?
I'm sorry.
New information would have been fine.
You need to give me a moment. That is not usually in these. That's the first umbilical cord I've seen in this entire series.
Yeah, that's
first
fair.
Umbilical cord I've seen in any of the games that you've shown me.
That's fair. At the scale that these things occur at, there's not usually a lot of umbilical cords around. Do we have actual live income of glass steel? We still don't. But we're close, right? I think we're close. I think I'm going to start spending our glass steel. So let's set up a laborer's hut. +5 food, and then +5 food on each farm district. We have a lot of districts that require some of this stuff. Some glass steel. How do I... Yeah, build an extractor here. Do we need tech that we don't have for the extractors? In any case, maybe we should have dealt with this one first. But I was so tired of this city being all fucked up. Now that the thing is gone, I'm hoping we'll see the point of corruption vanish. Seems like it probably ought to. All right, and these random units have run over to attack us. Should be, fairly trivial. Instant res. For the moment, while that hero is here, or while that hero is wounded, we can just fold these armies back together. So what do you think about the specialization, like the specialized design system in this game versus the more comprehensive unit design system in the first game?
I don't have strong thoughts, but I do miss, during the time that I tried to play some Endless Legend, some of the first game, after and during our series on it, I didn't really delve into it as deeply as you did. But I think having those tools I miss them a little. I miss, it's a little fiddly, but I miss having that kind of degree of customization and that degree of choice. Because the thing is, I'm sure the point for any of these companies, these games are somewhat expensive to make. And as much as they want to play to their core audience, they also want to try to get a bigger piece of the pie. And certainly a company that's not Firaxis wants to get a larger portion of the pie than they've been.
Right.
So you kind of want to streamline some things or remove things that might irritate people, like, the battle system. I do miss the Endless Legend 1 battle system. Because I as someone who cares about simulation value in battles, even in a fantasy game, having less direct control is something that you can do with computers that you can't meaningfully do in analog games, and I think is really interesting. And I also see where people would be, what's the word I'm looking for? Fussy little babies about it, and you want that fussy little baby money. You gotta make it more palatable. And I understand that, but I do regret the loss of some of those kind of features, some of that complexity. Because to a certain degree, you can only make this so simple.
Yeah.
You're like, your mom's not going to pick up a copy of Endless Legend 2 and start playing it.
Yeah, regardless of what they do to the battle system.
Or the unit design and whatnot. So that's kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts on that?
Without using the phrase "fussy little baby," my thoughts are similar. It's a much more interesting. The first game has a much more interesting battle system, and it allows you to do more interesting things, and more to the point of a thing that's actually very compelling for me. It asks more of you. There is a skill to be learned. So check this out. We can run this guy up here, and then we can actually make use of our weird long straight line attack. So look at all these guys we got stacked up.
Okay. Oh yeah.
It's not amazing, but it does something.
It's interesting that it does more damage to the people in the back than in the front.
Well, this guy in the front is like their hero.
Oh, okay,
This guy has
gotcha.
37 defense.
Okay, that makes more sense. And to be clear, I'm not saying any of that to slag on the game. I'm noticing differences, but like, this is still like really good and far and away the most fun I've had in a 4X series on this channel in a long time.
All right, let's try to. So I don't. You were really having at it there. And so I was waiting for an opportunity to get a word in edgewise, but one was not forthcoming. These fortresses, the fortress battles, first of all, cannot be auto resolved.
Okay.
Secondly, the fortress can be you have the option to like raid the fortress for its resources, or to seize it and use it as a place to live. Which like
Yeah.
it didn't occur to me immediately that would be a thing, but like of course it is, right? Of course a fortress makes a fine place to set up and and use as a base of operations.
In my defense about me going on, you did ask a complicated question that required an answer with some nuance.
Yeah, but also you could see the screen. You could see the like hold on a second. Do you want to like describe? You know,
Okay.
it's all good. It's all fine.
Your job is hard, and I'm learning as I go.
Okay, so we've taken down our first fortress here. We received some dust, and then there were 4 like basically random rolled loot slots. So we found ourselves a mantle of protection, which will give 30 shield and 3 extra shield per hero level. It's like consumable potions, I think, are pretty cool. A corroded fire bow gives determination, the anti-infantry trait, which I think a lot of ranged weapons have. And then scoped shot, range 3. I mean, that's fine. That's a fine bow. Leathers of the Deeps, which give, some decent stats. And a light mace. When using this active skill, a bunch of damage, knocks 1 tile back the targeted units. That's pretty cool. The area of effect is a greater cleave. With the most basic cleave description, making me wonder what would be a lesser cleave.
Yeah.
So we can, at this point, evolve this. Remember, we were being held down by the presence of the fortress, and now we understand why. It's because only one of them can be allowed to upgrade into a settlements type thing. And I think I am going to evolve this into a city as soon as we have the resources to do so. So we still have a Doomwraith rocking up here, making life difficult. But we have 3 fortresses in a pretty tight area down here, and I did think that maybe it was worth going after this stuff first while we were close.
Yeah.
Because in order to win our current victory type, we do have to clear 10 fortresses.
All right. You got a lot done this episode, sweetheart.
Yeah, well, I mean, once our like major stumbling block is out of the way, we're being slowed down so much by just having to keep something at bay to mess with the necrophages all the time. And since this is apparently only a 1 army job, I'm wondering if this other army wants to head back north and do what? I am not exactly sure.
Hey, can I ask you a question when you have a moment?
I have a moment. What's up?
It's been a while since we had a weather thing, right? The rain.
So you can see down here.
Oh, okay.
We have a weather indicator.
That's quite a few.
It's pretty messy right now. It's a pretty large range, But yeah, we have a vague idea of when the next monsoon is.
Okay.
So we still need to we still need to clear our minor faction village here. I'm not 100% sure what it is that's keeping it from losing its corruption, because obviously there's no Doomwraith over here anymore. But you can see the city has jumped back up to happy, is now actually functional. We're producing resources again here. So yeah, this city's coming along. We need to clear this one out. This other city over here is taking its time because it's new mostly. We did pick up a huge amount of money over the course of the last couple of turns of battles. So this is probably a pretty good time to spend a little bit of money just making sure that our stuff is getting set up properly here. All right. Get this population going. City's big and happy. Yeah, look at how like miserable all that stuff looks. They're really giving it a whole black and white treatment. Okay, the coral continues to grow, always and forever. And yeah, you said that we've gotten a lot done here. I think as a hint to me to notice the time, which I did do.
No, because I just wanted to. I just you got a lot done, and I was not.
Well,
I am
in
enjoying
any case, we are an hour in here. Probably a good time to stop before we run forward and take another fortress. I am not 100% confident that we're going to be able to knock out these other two without having to fall back for some reinforcements. And I appreciate that the enemies are still challenging. So that is going to be it for us for today. We have eliminated our nearest neighbor. We have received some not entirely friendly contact from our new nearest neighbor. And we have started on the road toward our victory in earnest. 10 fortresses and 25 regions owned. We are currently at 1 and 8. But we can do a lot of work pretty quickly on these if we just focus. So, when you'll come back next time, that's what we're after. And we'll see you then.
We'll see you then.